Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Tales from an Ugly Childhood. Stories from an Ugly Childhood. I should change it. Yeah, I should change it. Um, I am your host, the Crap Artist. Here we are in the crappy art room. The lighting is a little better. I found another one to put high up, out of sight. Not that it matters. It really doesn't, because I'm only here to talk. You're not here to look at my ugly ass face. Um, Boy, I'm self-deprecating today. Anyway, entry 2. I have a bit of a 2-for-1 special. They both take place the same year, and they're both the same basic circumstances, and the same plot line, kind of, sort of. It's really about my mom showing you who's boss by hucking something out the window of a car. We will call this story Along Came a Spider. And there are characters in this one, too. So, we have the person that is now my stepfather. We will call him Officer McStinkerton. And his 2 sons. And they were older than me. There is the eldest son who is no longer with us, and I respect him a great deal. So we're just going to call him the eldest son. And he doesn't really play a huge role in this. He was always a very quiet person, a very gentle soul. And I'm really not ready to talk about him yet. So I'm not going to. And the other boy, the younger son, the bane of my childhood existence while he was in my sphere, we will call him Shiny Meatball Head Jr. Because Shiny Meatball Head was the nickname that he gave his own father, because Officer McStinkerton did, in fact, have a mighty and glorious bald spot and a brilliant comb over that was super long and gelled over, and like when the wind hit it, it went. Anyway, solid wall comb over. So, we're in the car. My mother and I are in the car with the 3 of them, and this car is a sports car. It's I believe it was called a Z28, and I do not know makes or models of sports cars. I know that this thing was very pointy, and it had a horribly uncomfortable back seat if you were the asshole that had to sit in the middle every single time. And guess who was the asshole that had to sit in the middle? So it was like 2 bucket seats, right? And the middle was covered in this horrible stabby fiberglass carpet and probably made of cinder blocks, because oh my god, my tailbone. It still kind of aches thinking about it. So anyway, my mom and I would go, we would drive all the way the fuck into Williamstown, and we would park at this diner to meet up with Officer McStinkerton, who was a state police officer that met my mother because he pulled her over and then got her phone number from, the ticket that he gave her. And they started a relationship real rapid fire. Yeah, within 2 months he was sleeping over at our house and everything. So anyway, we're in the car with the 3 of them, and Shiny Meatball Jr. has this rubber spider, and he's been bothering me for the entire trip with this stupid spider. And after a while, I just gave up in responding and kind of just zoned out and went into my own little la-la land, as I do when I don't feel like dealing with things. And so he started to taunt my mother with it. And so he's got the spider and he's on her shoulder and bothering her. And then she's not really reacting the way he wants her to. So he starts putting it in her face and still not getting a reaction. So he physically rubs it in her face and rubs it in her hair and messes up her makeup and her hair. And she gets incredibly angry and grabs the spider and hucks it out of the moving car window. And so Shiny Meatball starts carrying on and freaking out like a adolescent child be doing. And I guess that's not an adolescent child. He was a preteen. And so Officer McStinkerton pulls over the car on the side of the road, and he looks at my mother, and he tells her to get out and go find the spider. And she starts laughing at him, and he's not joking. And he tells her to get out and find the spider, or he's going to leave her there. So my mom gets out, and she goes about 60 feet looking at the side of the road and in the overbrush and all that shit until she finds the stupid spider. And she gets back in the car, and McStinkerton makes her apologize to Shiny Meatball Head Jr. And then we go about the rest of the day like it was basically nothing. Like, you know, we go to a restaurant, and then we go to a movie, and drops us off back at my mom's car, and that's that. And I was so dumbfounded by it. Because my mom she just took it, and she stayed. And it's been 38 years, and they're still together, and they're married now. They got married in 2018. And that was only the first time I witnessed how much control my now stepfather, needed to have over my mother and me. He was, when they had first met, when he was just getting to know her, he was going through my room and taking music tapes and articles of clothing and cosmetics away from me that he didn't think I should have because Satan worship or this or that. It's a tale for another story, but there is no Bible in my parents' house. And there never has been. I'm the only one that's ever had a Bible in that house. Anyway, yeah. So that was the first time I ever witnessed how much control that man had over my mother, and he terrified me as a small child. And it only got worse and weirder and more damaging over the years. Okay. Now for the second story, which isn't even that better. You know, it's not any better. So a few months, flash a few months ahead, I am 10 years old, and my mom and I are on our way back from the Berlin Farmers Market, and I had an allowance, so I spent my little bitty monies on a bottle of Bonnabelle black nail polish for $1.75. And I was so happy with it, and I was playing with it in the car, and I was about to open it up and get to going with my nails, and my mom notices it and starts freaking out. And she grabs it out of my hand and throws it out the window and tells me I can't have that shit because it's for poor people and junkies, and I don't want people thinking those things about me, and blah 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 blah. I'm a proper lady. I have to act like a proper lady and look like a proper lady. And I felt like at that moment, when she threw it out the window, I thought she was joking, and I thought maybe she'd palmed it and was going to give it back to me. But no, no, no. She just kept screaming. And at that moment, I realized that I could never be anything but this person that was already pre-programmed and predestined and pre-written, and I had to follow these rules. And it wasn't a realization, it was just like a shocking discovery that this is what my mother had planned for me and wanted for me, and I wasn't allowed to be or do anything else. There was a set color palette for me, and a set way of life, and a set group of friends that I was allowed to associate with. Yep. That was the start of that. And what were the long-term effects? What were the long-term effects? Well, I had a 15-year-long Gothic phase that I did not exit until I was about, 40. And that's when I decided that I wanted to start wearing cool colors and start looking like an 8th grade art teacher. And as for everything else, my entire life is contrary to everything that my mother believes in, that my mother tried to instill in me. I don't wear makeup anymore because I just don't care. It's too much effort and too much time, and I'm too old to, waste my valuable, valuable time on that. I could be watching creepypastas or playing in the garden instead of putting fucking makeup on. And I don't care so much about appearances. I care more about comfort and self-expression than anything else. Who cares what other people think of how I look? As long as I know in my heart that I'm the best person that I can possibly be, that I treat others with integrity and respect when they deserve it, and I try to be a decent human being. I mean, the jury's still out on if I actually am, but I try to be. I have a lot to make up for. Yep. And I roll my shit too tight. Anyway, that is my video. It is long enough. If there has to be a part B, there will be. If not, then goodbye, everyone.